Welcome to Black Sci-Fi TV, where we do our best to inspire your imagination. I'm your host, Maurice Waters, and today we're coming to you from the 3rd Annual ChemFest at Central High School in Newark, New Jersey. The ChemFest is a comic book convention that uses comic books to emphasize youth literacy and STEM. Today we'll be showing you highlights of the Black Women in Comics panel. Check it out. It's not a new phenomenon. They've been around for years. Whether we're talking about the artistic side or the business side of the comic book industry, Black women have been involved in comic books for a very long time. And thanks to Karama Horne, aka the Blerd Girl, we have a panel at the ChemFest that she hosted called Black Women in Comics. Take a look and take notes. And we're back with Black Sci-Fi TV, and we're here with the Blerd Girl herself, Karama Horne. Welcome to Black Sci-Fi TV.
Hi, thank you, Maurice. Thank you for having me.
and tell us about the panel that you organized today, Black Women in Comics. How did you come up with that idea?
Nassim had asked me to do a panel, and he was we were kind of throwing around ideas of topics and ideas, and I said, you know what, let's just keep it simple and call it Black Women in Comics, and I want to talk about Black female comic book characters as well as have some artists involved. And I was really excited to get Regine Sawyer, Micheline Hess, Shauna Grant, as well as from Amalgam Comics and Coffee, Ariell Johnson. And so that we can cover the creator end as well as how to taking a comic book idea and bringing it all the way to the store.
Such a simple idea, but it's really a heavy subject.
It is. And I think there's so many different ways to look at it. As you saw on the panel, there's everybody's different ways. Like Shauna came from webcomics, and Regine had a different story because she's more of a writer, and Arielle's entire reasoning for actually even opening the store is even a more different story. And I found it really interesting. But it was very gratifying to hear at the end many people say that wow, I didn't know these artists existed, and I didn't know that there were that many Black female characters or independent artists, so that makes me feel good, getting the information out there.
I want to talk a little bit for the next hour or so about African-American comic book characters as well as the ladies that are here with me who are very well versed in this. Shauna J. Grant is a cartoonist and illustrator born and raised in New York City. From childhood, she was in love with comics and animation from around the world. She especially has a deep love for everything magical girls and anime, manga, and which fuels her art and all its cuteness. Next, we have Micheline Hess. Micheline is the creator of the highly acclaimed Malice in Ovenland graphic novel series from Rosarian Publishing. The New York City native worked as a colorist for Milestone Comics before she decided to take the plunge and create comics of her own 5 years ago. Regine Sawyer. I know Regine is the founder of Women in Comics Collective International. Yes, there we go. Based in New York, which is basically, Regine is a pioneer in basically women in comics period. She goes not just to festivals, but actually throughout the New York Public Library system, as well as many other events, teaching and educating women of color, women as well as women of color, about comics and comic book media. She also has her own company called LockettDown Productions, where she produces her own comic books. And she actually also has other comic books on her roster. So she is not just a comic book creator, she's also a comic book publisher, who I was trying to introduce when my Google decided to freelance things for me, was Ariell Johnson. Arielle is the founder of Amalgam Comics and Coffee in Philadelphia, and is the first Black female owner of a comic shop on the East Coast. Woo! If you didn't clap there, I would tell you to clap.
I would have to say Ayah of the City, or the character Ayah. It's a series that takes place in 1960s Ivory Coast, and I love her because she's very relatable. spunky. She's not a superhero. It's very kind of slice of life. But she reminds me a lot of the kinds of friends I had as a kid, so I like that character very much.
And that's why I'm saying, I know I'm going to say her name wrong. Ayah's by Amalgam I know I'm saying it wrong.
No, yeah.
But,
That's probably what you're
yeah, but it is a beautiful, beautiful series if you get a chance. She's from the Ivory Coast as well. Yeah, it's a beautiful comic book series, Ayah.
My favorite, as Regine said, doubling up here is Storm, but to mention someone else, I would have to say Michonne. I'm not, despite having all of the Walking Dead comic books, I haven't had a chance to read them, but I do watch the show, and she is just a different kind of woman, different kind of black woman that I don't feel like we always get to see. Like, she is very strong, powerful, she's deadly, she is not here for your nonsense, but there is also like a vulnerability to her that you can tell she's worked really hard to hide in this world where, you know, your vulnerabilities can be the death of you.
And welcome back to Black Sci-Fi TV. I'm here with Ariell Johnson, who is the owner of Amalgam Comic Books, Coffeehouse, and more in Philadelphia. Did I say it right?
Amalgam Comics and Coffeehouse.
Okay. It's a lot to say, but there's a lot going on there. If you're ever in Philly, that's the place you need to be. She's also been a part of the panel today here at the Kim Fest in Newark, New Jersey, where they talked about black women in comics. And so I thought, what better person to ask about what's hot now and who are the women that we need to look for now in comic books, whether it's artists, superheroes in front or behind in the scenes?
Two of the panelists, well, all three actually, but two of the panelists, we actually carry their books in our shop. So that's Micheline Hess, Malice and Ovenland, that's Regine Sawyer, The Rippers, Ice Witch, and Eating Vampires. Shauna, who I just met today, I'm actually going to talk to her about getting her book in the shop as well. Mm-hmm. And she does like cute anime style black girl comics, which is really cool. As far as black characters, you know, Walking Dead, which has Michonne, Invincible Iron Man, which is featuring Riri Williams, the new iteration of Iron Man, her actual name is Ironheart. Let's see, iMage has a character of color, Motor Crush, which is about a young black woman who races bikes or motorbikes, I don't know the correct term, but on both the professional circuit and the underground circuit. So again, just a lot of like alternative, like black girl lifestyles. Books are out there. I feel like I'm missing.
I'm sure. And do you feel like it's on the rise? Do you feel like it's increasing?
Yes, definitely increasing. I mean, we definitely need more, but yeah, people are really both behind the scenes and in front. Oh, Ashley Woods, who's working on Niobe, and she's working on some bigger projects for Marvel and things like that. So just another artist to look out for. But yeah, it's definitely on the rise. We still need more, but I am encouraged by what I'm seeing. And so the important thing at this point is to make sure you're supporting those things that you said you wanted to see. So if you said you wanted to see, you know, black female superheroes, then make sure you're picking up that Invincible Iron Man book. If you want to support black artists, make sure you're finding out who's drawing what and supporting their titles, even if those titles, they may not necessarily be drawing women of color or people of color, that still work for that artist and money for that artist and notoriety for that artist so that they can continue to grow and develop as artists. It's important for us to make sure we're also putting our money behind it. It's not enough to say, I want to see it and complain when it's not there. When it's there, you need to support it.
Now, did all of these characters, like Ayah, Storm, were they the reason why you ladies got into comics?
For me, Storm was, as you read during the bio, I always liked like superheroes and like weapons and, you know, like I like swords and things like that. Because swords. So sometimes you gotta, my love of swords has turned into axe throwing, so that's fun. But yeah, but I've always liked that kind of thing. But I always felt like I was watching other people's adventures, like watching other people be great and just kind of being privy to it. But once I was introduced to Storm, I started to imagine myself in those roles, and I was introduced to Storm at like 11, so probably when I was maybe too old to be doing this. One of my favorite things to do was like to play outside on a windy day and pretend I was making the wind blow. But it's like, you know what I mean? Again, I was maybe too old to be doing it when I was doing it, but it's fine.
So my biggest inspiration mostly is just growing up during that big manga and anime boom in the late 90s, early 2000s. So I liked seeing comics starring female characters. Like, I really enjoyed having black characters, but the black characters I saw didn't really represent what I felt, which is what inspired me to create my own comic about a black Karen who was really bubbly and cute, because like it just felt like black characters, when they're there, they're just kind of like, they have to be like the super strong one. They're never really like the girly one, and I wanted to always be like the girly cute person. Like, why did it take so long to get like a pink Power Ranger and stuff that was black, you know?
For me, Storm was definitely a big factor in me getting into comics, but I think that just the whole world of the X-Men sort of drew me in, because the stories were so, again, thoughtful and well written, and taking back the Storm.
Talking about like the 90s Chris Claremont X-Men.
Well, late 80s into the 90s Chris Claremont comics, but also even before his time. I started reading classic X-Men. So I started reading when Storm first joined the book, and it was the new X-Men. All the older students were gone; they were dead. So Professor X had to rebuild his team. So I started collecting those, and just seeing her transformation when she got the mohawk and all of that. I mean, that was for her. That was about freedom. So many things had happened to her up to that point. She just said, "Screw it! I'm getting a mohawk, and it's the age of punk." And it was just there was something about that to me that resonated with me, and I just started creating my own characters and started writing my little stories, and I was in my own world. And it took about 20 years, like 20 some odd years later, for me to say, you know what, I'm gonna try my hand at this and see what happens.
Okay. Micheline, how about you? What was your reason for getting the comics?
I would have to say the lack of characters that I found relatable. Like, there were characters that I liked, but as a kid, there were really no characters that I could relate to at all. My father used to bring back comics from business trips, like you mentioned. And there was one comic called Le Pied de Clay, and it was about this like gang that gets into these different adventures. And there is one black character, but he's utterly like Sambo-fied. So it's just, and as a kid, you're like, what's that? I decided that I guess maybe in a way creating Malice and Ovenland was a way of kind of appeasing my wounded inner child, having characters that I could relate to. I wanted something that kids could look at and see themselves in the adventure and in the story and say, hey, that's me, we can actually be like in these adventures too. It doesn't have to be about waiting for someone else to give us permission to do it.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what Malice and Ovenland's about.
Malice and Ovenland is about a girl named Lily Brown. She's from Queens, and she's stuck at home one summer doing chores. All her friends are off doing cool stuff, and she ends up getting sucked into the oven, into this other world that's populated by these creatures that mean her ill will, I guess you could say. They've been kind of surviving off of Lily's mom's the extra leftovers from her not so great way of eating, and so now that the mom is eating better, the creatures are kind of terrified at having to face that change. So Lily kind of has to use her wits and her skills and things like that to get out of there and get home and finish her chores before her mom gets back. And along the way, she makes friends, and she has to learn to be brave when she doesn't feel brave and try new things. So a lot of it is kind of a love letter to all the things that in my childhood I enjoyed so much. So video games, cartoons, different kinds of fantasy and adventure movies and things like that. And also a lot of the French comics that I did enjoy that weren't utterly eyeball-searingly racist, like Piff magazine and things like that, where it was more funny animals and such. It was kind of a love letter to all of those things, as well as, you know, future kids who were looking for that kind of story.
And Shauna, what is your story about Princess Love Pon?
Princess Love Pon is about a girl named Leah Sagamore who's experiencing that first real transition in life between high school and wondering what you're going to do after high school. And she feels like there's nothing that she's really good at. And so one day she's out and literally gets hit in the head with this magical creature that says, hey, you can become a magical girl. So she becomes the envoy of love, Princess Love Pon, who has to protect people's hearts from the evil Dark Queen that wants to devour them. And she decides that this obviously has to be her calling. And it's kind of like an escape for her to like not think about growing up. And in the process, she has to experience other people's feelings as she helps them through their emotional distress, like stuff like having your first crush and not sure how to tell them, or feeling used in a one-sided relationship and things like that, and just how to juggle your friendships and relationships while she's doing this magical thing.
Right, so Black woman. She's saving everybody else and not taking any care of herself whatsoever. I remember that. Okay. Regine, you have a few books, so I wanted to ask you which one. Well, you can talk about both, as many as you want.
Well, the image up there is from iSwitch, and iSwitch is a spin-off of my book, The Rippers. And The Rippers is about an intergalactic bounty hunter who's accused of a crime she doesn't remember committing. And iSwitch is about an assassin who gets married, has a baby, now the company's after her child. My last series is Eating Vampires, and that's about a girl who is the last of her people and the only cure for a vampire virus outbreak.
Okay, and welcome to Black Sci-Fi TV. Both of you just came out of a panel entitled Black Women Make Comics at the ChemFest in Newark, New Jersey. And I just had a couple more questions that I wanted to ask. One of the things that, as a comic book collector myself, that I noticed for a very long time, I didn't see any black women involved in collecting and creating. Is this a new phenomenon?
Absolutely not. We've been around forever. Jackie Ormez was the first black female cartoonist in the segregated press, and she was drawing comics in the 1940s. So we've been around for a very, very long time. We've been everywhere.
And what does it mean, or what does a black woman bring to the comic book industry that's different, that was missing, that we're not seeing, or we should be focusing on and looking at?
I think a black woman can bring a black perspective as well as a black female perspective, which I think is wholly unique amongst characters. And even if you're not talking about characters that are human, it could be a character that's a vampire, or it could be a character that's another creature. It's still a unique perspective where that person's respective struggles and achievements, heartbreak, wins, and all these other kinds of things can be coming through that character.
And one of the things that I noticed, if I had to compare with the male comic book collector or the male comic book artist versus a female comic book collector artist, is that a lot of the women that are involved in the industry, they come in right away, organize, create, and execute. And I know plenty of guys who, man, I can't get past this sketchbook, this Afghan, that's still stuck on number one. And, and I think that's great. I think that's amazing. And so I want to ask you, what are some tips you have for your male counterparts to get it going?
Persevere. As women, we are used to persevering. We're used to having obstacles thrown in front of us. And I think for the male counterparts, they need to just push through. If something's not working properly, you figure it out. You don't give up. You don't place the blame on anyone else. You make it happen. You make it do what it do. If you want this book out there, let's do it. No complaints, no extreme worry. Just get it done and not worry about anything else.
Okay. And do you feel, Micheline, do you feel that Is it limiting to hire a woman to write a female superhero or a female character versus having them, do Batman? Or, I mean, there are some women that, work on some of the male characters, but really it just seems like they kind of align, okay, we have a woman and we're going to have her write a female character, which is important too. But, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I think that a good writer can write anything if you're treating the people, the characters, as they are, as people. I think when a person gets really hung up on on the notion of having to portray a character a certain way, it's when a lot of problems can occur. So, I mean, you have a lot of men who are writing female characters, and they don't sound or feel like female characters. So, I think it's a difficult challenge, but I think it can actually be met by female writers very well.
Okay, and just in closing, if people want to see your information and find out about your organization, what's your social media information?
For Twitter, it's at LockettDown. That's LOCKEETT down. Also, we have Women in Comics NY, at Women in Comics NY on Twitter. Facebook, Women in Comics Collective International, LockettDown Productions, the whole gamut. We're on Instagram too, so just put in those names and you'll find us.
Okay, you
can find me at facebook.com/Ovenland, or on Instagram, Ovenland Comic. It's where I post the most stuff.
Okay. Thank you for being on Black Sci-Fi TV, and keep up the great work.
Thank you very much.
Okay, then my next question, which I'm going to have an addendum for you as well. What is the actual process of getting your comic book made? And then, if you could, Arielle, just speak to what it's like for someone getting their book into your store.
The first issue of Malice and Ovenland was very experimental because I didn't really know what I was doing. So I was drawing everything on these 11 by 17 comic boards, and I had this very tiny scanner, so I would have to scan everything in 2 pieces and then put it back together in Photoshop after it was inked, and then color it. And it was quite a learning process. I'm very happy with the way the first Malice came out, but once I started going purely digital, things just became a lot faster. I ended up investing in a Yenova tablet monitor, which is kind of like a poor man's Wacom, Cintiq. And it was great because you can draw, I can do my lettering and everything like that right there. And with each successive book, it became, my process became more streamlined. I have an iPad at home and I always carry it around with me. And I started using that to create the roughs that I would then import into other applications in ink. And so it allowed me the freedom of being able to, well, if you can call it working full-time freedom, but I guess I shouldn't complain, to actually work on Malice on the side. If I was on the subway, if I was, waiting somewhere, a doctor's office, whatever, I could actually create the panels based on the notes that I created for myself. I usually interestingly, do the dialogue as the very last thing, because I'm more interested in creating illustrations and creating a narrative flow that's visual, that communicates better than the actual words would. So the words are almost a complement to everything that's supposed to be going on visually. The first Malice I actually printed up through a small company in Queens that Regine put me onto. And that was a really amazing experience. When I finally held the proof in my hand, it was like holding my child in my hands, and I was just, and after that, I got hooked up with Rosarium. So that's been a really great experience, learning about publishing and not have to be worried so much about doing all of the legwork and going around and getting the word out about my comic, even though I still do that a little, but not to the extent that Bill does. And I can focus more on creation.
In high school, my art teacher, she gave me like this phone book size of Japanese manga, like how it's published before it's collected in a volume, and like each story would be like a different monotone color, like, and it was printed like really cheaply, and I was like, I want my comic to look like that, and also not have to fully color something.
but it works because it gives it a style. So
yes.
When you do splash things like this, and you add the blues and the purples, it's like special.
Yes, no, it's like, oh, this is what my character should look like. And yeah, so like, I'm still like really amazed like how much my webcomics like has taken off, and people are always asking like, I want physical copies. I'm like, okay, we'll do some chapter copies, because I still like want to finish another chapter or two before I pull it into like a full volume. And like, okay,
So you have one volume out now, or you have one?
I don't have a full volume right now. I have like physical copies of the first 2 chapters.
Oh, chapters, okay.
Yeah, and I'm about to start updating with the chapter 4. So by the 5th chapter for sure, it'll be like together in one single volume. So I do feel like it's a really great way to do webcomics, because there's a lot of freedom in it, and you don't have to like pay up front to like get prints done for it, unless you want to. And with social media, it's really easy to be like, hey, read my comic, and they can literally just go to the website and read it.
Right.
So it's a really great way to start out.
Awesome. Regine, what's your, because you write yours, but you hire artists? That's more.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I usually find artists on there's a few different websites, digital webbing, conceptart.org, Pencil Jack, DeviantArt. There are artists on those websites that are looking for work. So I'll put up an ad stating exactly what I want, how I want it, and I have my email address. And I say, hey, send me your work. Let me see what you can do. And from there, I go through a crap ton of submissions, because the moment I see somebody I like, I put them in the maybe pile, and I start contacting people. And once I have, let's say about 5 that I really like, or maybe even 10, but usually it's about 5, I'll have them do a test page for my script, and I'll choose which person I want from there, and I work out a page rate to pay them. And usually that's how I work. Since establishing women in comics, I've been introduced to a lot of different women in the industry. So now more women are reading my books, and I know them personally, which is totally cool. It's really awesome. But I still believe in the tried and true, put up an ad and find somebody process. Mm-hmm. So from there, they get my script, they work on it. I go over revisions with them if necessary. I do the editing process by myself sometimes, or I might have someone help me edit the final draft. And then from there, we're ready to start coloring, we're ready to start inking, we're ready to start lettering, all that great stuff, and then we publish.
So for the getting your book in store, normally there'll be a review process. We kind of check again and see if it's something that would do well in our shop, checking to make sure that the writing is solid and the art is solid. And then we usually do on consignment basis, so we'll take maybe 3 or 5 books, and then as we sell them, we pay out to the creator for having the books in the shop. And if it's a book that does especially well, then we will then work to have an ongoing arrangement where we are paying for the books like now up front, again, because we know that it's a book that we can move, so we'll pay for it up front and then have it stocked in our shelves. So it's not really like a step-by-step process that looks the same every time, because again, it depends on what the book is, who the creator is,
what the run is,
when
you get it.
Right, when you get it.
In the store.
Exactly, all those things. So it can look a little different, but roughly that's the process.
Okay, cool. That's all the time we have, because we have another panel right up next to this one. But thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Black Sci-Fi TV. I'm your host, Maurice Waters, and I'll see you next month.